But let's get into history, young man.
Young man.
There's not that much it looks like in
There's
history
not.
this week.
That's why I
which
told you
is
before we started
interesting.
recording that I should have typed it.
But it's all good. We expanded on that Obsidian topic with Microsoft,
We did.
and I think it was a good talk. And I think people will appreciate us talking about that.
Okay.
So let's hit the monkey in the arse with this history.
Okay. Let's do that.
I Falcon punched Lily this morning, but not like I didn't really punch her, but like like Falcon punch is kind of like slow. It kind of seems slow,
Sure.
and then but I just like nicked her like that,
Okay.
and she was like,
What you doing?
"Yeah."
I scratch you.
She didn't do that.
Okay.
She's too lazy to raise a paw.
That's true. I could just picture her like when you did it. She was just like hanging on the arm, just like with all four.
Oh no, she was
limbs down.
she was on Carly's bed. She's just
Oh,
like she was just like
Okay. Fair enough. All right, you ready?
yes.
So this is starting on October 18th,
October 18th.
running through Thursday, October 18th through Wednesday. Did I mess this up? Nope. Wednesday, October 24th.
October 24th.
So get ready.
Let's get it.
Ready your ears. Here we go. October 18th in the year 1867.
1867.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Kind of.
The Alaska Territory is officially transferred from Russia to the United States. I think we paid like a few cents an acre or something like that to Russia.
Yeah. When was didn't they have an Alaskan gold rush or something like that?
Yeah. Yukon. It was
what
in the Yukon Territory.
was that like during that time or after?
It was.
Probably shortly after. I'm guessing.
Yes, I think it was shortly after because I don't think Russia would have just been giving it up.
Well, they probably were the other transaction after the how people find out like, oh my god, we bought land. Let's
Actually,
go
now I'm
there.
thinking about it. The Yukon is not even in Alaska, is it?
I don't
It's
think
like Canada.
Yeah, but I think it's probably on the border. I'm guessing.
Okay.
But regardless, there's probably settlers that move there. They're like, oh, new opportunity. Maybe they might have gold up here. They probably heard a story too of some dude finding gold.
Yep, and then they were like, "Wow, it's really cold. I'm gonna leave."
Yeah, I froze my balls off.
That was the only thing I had for October 18th.
October 18th.
Short and
what a
sweet. Bye.
Boring ass day.
I also only have one thing for October 19th.
Oh wow.
October 19th, 1954. Egypt and Britain sign an agreement ending 72 years of British military occupation, and Egypt had to agree to allow free passage through the Suez Canal.
And that's where Dick hit the fan, man.
I guess, yeah. Sure.
Because that was when 1954. Where so basically right after World War II, Britain was basically fatigued and in debt, I believe, and then even they were on rations up until the 50s, right?
Yes.
So they were just basically like worn out, and the conflicts going on with the Palestinians and the Israelis in that region, where they were just like, cash out, dog. We're done.
Also only have one for October 20th.
God
It's like that. This is really short.
damn.
I didn't really feel like there were a lot of really interesting things that happened.
Do I need to pull up history, please? No,
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, you don't. October 20th, 1818.
1818.
Another Canadian reference here.
Canada.
The United States and Britain established the 49th parallel as the border between the United States and Canada.
Wow.
So like that line, that like Washington, Idaho, Montana line.
Except where they get to where I think what the new Super Troopers movie. I don't know where that takes place.
Didn't see it, so I don't know.
So like they added territory into
Oh,
Canada.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how that movie
Yeah, fair enough.
starts, or the plot starts.
Okay.
But I thought it was stupid. But it made sense how to get the movie started.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I apologize.
That's good. October 21st, 1797.
1797.
The USS Constitution is launched in Boston Harbor. Nickname is Old Ironside. It is the oldest ship that is still serving, technically, even though it's not, but it's docked in probably like Boston. Oldest warship, Navy ship serving in any of the World Navy.
Mm.
And it's like I think probably the last of like the wooden frigates.
Don't say. I can't. That thing must have been repaired so many times
Oh yeah, for sure.
because wood sucks in water.
For sure. Also, October 21st in the year 1833, Alfred Nobel is born. Obviously, most famous now, I guess, for the Nobel Prize.
Hey, you like dynamite?
But yes,
'Cause
that's
it's
what I was going to
that
say.
guy.
But a lot of people, I guess, probably don't realize or don't know that he invented dynamite
And became a rich man.
and then had
And
like
then-
a moral crisis over it
Yeah.
because it wasn't used in the way he thought it was going to be used.
And he decided.
Because people figured out, hey, we can blow up other people with the
Yeah.
dynamite.
Well, that and just like the destruction of just stuff in general.
Yeah.
And what was then he started the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know how did he have like endless pockets? Because that stuff was like every year, and they give not just a Nobel Peace Prize. Don't they give like a certain amount of money too?
Yeah, you get like $100,000 or something. Like
Okay. Well, still like $100,000. Like what year was that?
that. He was born in 1833.
So 1833. So you must have accumulated his fortune probably in like the mid 1800s.
Well, but it's not like now anyway. It's not like him or his family that are paying the money. It's like
Okay.
an organization. It's like
it's all donated.
it's like the Oscars now. It's like a international.
Okay, but is it like how do they? We gotta do some research on this, find out how they're getting all this money to get the scientists.
Like maybe back in the day he was the one paying it himself, but like not anymore. It's like
Mhm.
it's like a foundation,
Okay.
and they probably offer like grants and stuff for like research and too and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it probably is like highly dependent on donations.
But maybe he made so much money to where that's all. It's like, no.
Maybe I mean it's
Yeah.
possible. The dude invented dynamite. I mean they used dynamite for everything back
Mhm.
then.
Or the guy from that invented barbed wire made a lot of money too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of barbed wire fences.
Mm-hmm. Smart people.
October 21st, 1967 is the anniversary of the March on the Pentagon. 50,000 people.
50,000.
What did I say?
You said 50,000.
50,000? Oh, 50,000.
50,000. Correction.
Correction. Yes.
Correction.
50,000 people marched to the Pentagon to protest United States involvement in Vietnam.
Vietnam. So that war is that class I'm taking is more and more depressing. You know what, like one of the most sought after resources in Vietnam was?
That part of the world has a lot of rubber. I don't know if
That was
you...
one of them.
Okay.
The Michelin Company, the French Michelin Company was
Okay.
there. But opium.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
And I did not know this. And there was a lot of opium that was there.
Yeah, that
And
whole part of the world is full of it.
Yeah, from there all the way to Afghanistan, there's like that stretch. It's crazy.
That is my last thing for the 21st. October 22nd, 1836, Sam Houston is sworn in as the very first president of the Republic of Texas,
Those.
which was a somewhat short-lived little adventure between
It's only like
Like-
5 or 6 years, right?
yeah, I think so. I think I would have guessed like 7, but yeah, somewhere in there. Not a very amount. So like between their, I don't think you can call it secession from Mexico, but like leaving Mexico, they were their own country for a little bit, yeah. And then they joined the Union.
I visit the San Joaquin. I don't remember the battle site. I think it was Joaquin or Huachinco or something like that.
Now you're just making things up.
No, it starts with a J, but it's I have to look at it again.
Okay.
And they have like a Washington Memorial there, just like it's like exactly like the Washington Memorial almost, and it has like a big old Texas star up. You go up and then you can like oversee
Washington Monument, you mean, like in
monument. Yeah,
okay.
well, it's memorial too, right?
No,
Maybe.
I don't
Okay.
think I would call it a memorial.
Never mind.
I mean, he's not buried there or anything. He's buried at
Okay.
Mount Vernon.
Okay, whatever.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
So they have like the same kind of like tower, and then you go up and then you see overhead of everything, and then it explains like what was part of the battle, and that was if you ever watched the Alamo at the very end, that's where that place or what that took place there, the last battle, and then visiting the Alamo is really cool too. Definitely a good like learning experience on not just the strategic, I guess, way of how the Mexicans took over, but also like the weaponry and whatnot they used was like really interesting. But yeah, Santa Anna, General Santa Anna, New World Napoleon. I think that's what they called him.
Does. All right.
Yeah.
October 22nd, 1978. Pope John Paul II is inaugurated in Rome in the Vatican.
Nice.
And I did not know this. I didn't realize that it was kind of such an exclusive thing, but he was the first non-Italian pope since 1523.
Who?
Pope John Paul. He was Polish.
Yes. Okay.
And he was the first non-Italian since 1523.
Okay, 1520.
So like 450 years there was not anyone who wasn't from Italy.
So the guy replaced him. Where was he from?
He's from Argentina.
No. That guy died, and then they switched. Remember, that guy got kind of like outed or something like that. The next pope after him.
Oh.
There's been 2 popes.
Oh, I think you're right. I don't remember where the one that's in. I forget his name.
He's from Argentina.
Yeah. Pope Francis is the one.
Pope Francis. Yeah.
Is there a Benedict that was in there?
Maybe that's
between,
because they always change their names once they become popes.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not too sure if it was Benedict.
So I think it's Francis, and it's from Argentina. Because I remember, like, we follow soccer. Obviously, I think he had like a River Plate. River Plate is like his team or whatever.
Well, I don't know what it is, but I always watch events like that. I remember maybe it was it's my dad's fault probably, but how like they talk about or the process of becoming and then announcing popes. Like they have a thing where they have cameras on these little pipes at the Vatican, and it like if they have like a certain ones are lit, then they figured out which one. Like Pope, they just confirmed the Pope. They're gonna announce it right now. Weird stuff like that. Makes no sense, but yeah.
That is it for the 22nd. October 23rd, 1783. Virginia emancipates all slaves who like live in Virginia anyway, who served in the Continental Army. So it was like kind of one of the not the first step towards ending slavery, but like one of kind of the middle steps. A lot of people, especially today with all the revisionist, this is why I put this one in here, all of the revisionist history that goes down, people saying like, oh, well, like all of our founding fathers were slave owners and this, that, and the other. First off, most of them inherited them. That doesn't necessarily was not necessarily a reflection of their opinions. And secondly, a lot of people like Thomas Jefferson, for example, when he was involved in the Virginia government, like before even the United States, they outlawed you could no longer import slaves into Virginia, and then eventually when he was president, you could no longer import slaves into the United States. So that like, because like he was obviously, they were, in my opinion anyway, they were not in a position where they could have just got rid of slavery.
Yeah, exactly.
And like kept the United States together. That was the reality of it.
They also took steps to,
but they did as much as they could.
Yeah, they took steps to try to minimize it, but also they really like laid the foundation in the Constitution to future whatever you want to talk about, the future emancipation of all slaves. Right. When you think about it, because when people start to read, they're like, well, what about slaves? And then that's when it starts to really get people thinking. It's mostly was women back in the day that were really had a lot of empathy for them, and it kind of infected into like their husbands and their sons, and it kind of is really, you know, I don't not shined upon. What's the opposite of shine upon? It's really,
like, I don't know, hidden or
I guess hidden, or but like it's always looked in a bad way of like that, because Washington
looked down upon.
Yeah, looked down upon. It's Washington, I mean, inherited slaves to his wife. I think so did Jefferson, or maybe through his parents.
Jefferson did, but then Madison did as well.
Washington didn't. In his will, he tried to, emancipate all the slaves, but it was illegal. So there's nothing he could have done.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like there's, like when they talk about like the way of life or the way it was, and like, oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. Like, yeah, okay. 20 years ago, being gay like was looked down upon, and now it's normal. I mean, or it's not like looked at that way anymore.
Yeah.
Like come on. There's tons of people, like there was Hillary Clinton that was looking at people like that, and then now she's like, she just flipped the dime. Come on, calm down. Stop being outraged.
There were even things like any of the new territories that in the very young United States, like the Ohio Territory, for example, like it was not legal to have slaves there. So like people from especially the northeastern states that did have slaves, they would literally travel to the Ohio Territory and free their slaves in the Ohio Territory and then come back like without them.
Yeah,
So like there was a limit on what they were legally able to do, and there was also a limit on what they were able to do and keep the United States actually together.
And then I think there came a time, I think after like the turn of the 18th century or going into the 19th century, slaves were, they were kind of given the opportunity, or I don't know if you want to call it an opportunity, I guess it's an opportunity to buy their freedom. And that was like starting to be more like a recurrent and more, numerous? No, common. There you go. God, just my words not popping in my head. Because the American History podcast talked about this guy's story of buying his freedom, and then buying his family's freedom. It's like it was a thing back then, and people worked their ass off to do that stuff. And I think those stories I enjoyed to listen to the most, because those stories kind of show you what America was going to be in a way, and like the direction it was going in. And people back in the day used to treat people way worse than what we're treating them during that time anyways. So, the farther back you go into time, the worse we humans treated humans.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
I agree. Moving on.
The more you know.
October 24th, 1861, Western Union completes the first transcontinental telegraph line. Thus, I'm not really sure why this ended the Pony Express, but apparently, according to the thing that I read, that this was like the day that the Pony Express went out of business as well.
Pony Express was like a courier's?
Yeah, it was like literally people on horses,
because it's
carrying letters and stuff like that. No, I know, but
I'm just saying,
what if you need to mail a package? You can't send a package over telegraph. Maybe, yeah.
Well, maybe the Pony Express was it government? We have to double check that.
I'm not sure.
But it probably was just more privatized. Because, who can really afford back in the day to pay someone to take a package like that? You would have to be pretty wealthy to ask someone. Unless someone was doing that or making that service available, then that person was the entrepreneur.
Haven't you ever seen The Postman?
There's a movie called The Postman?
Yeah, it's a Kevin Costner movie. But it's like post-apocalyptic. It's different.
Oh, okay, never mind. Well, that makes no sense.
He finds a crashed car of like a postman.
Okay.
And he uses it as a disguise. He pretends to be a postman to gain benefits from all the little settlements in this post-apocalyptic world. Right. And then he starts to unify people, and there starts to be all these rumors and grand stories about this guy or whatever and everything that he's done, and he's been fighting the system that's trying to control these settlements and stuff. That sounds like
Fallout.
And so he has to he goes from using it as a cover to embracing it, and he starts he refounds the post office because it brings hope. People can communicate with their family, they find family members in other settlements. It's a whole thing. It's like a 90s Kevin Costner movie.
Well, anyways, I think the only time people probably delivered a package like that was for the military, when they needed to give orders to across the country, basically.
No, but sure, but orders you can send over the thing. I'm talking a thing. What if I was gonna mail you?
Yeah, but there's certain those aren't gonna be able to go to everywhere, because we don't get cell service in certain areas, so you have to physically go there to deliver that.
Yeah.
So.
You're right. I lost my spot here. October 24th, 1929 is known as Black Thursday. It was the very first... It was the beginning of the stock market crash that led to the Great Depression. So it was the first big drop. Yeah, I guess that pretty much just sums it up.
There's so many weird myths on how that's so dumb.
There was I forget, I was talking with... My dad and I were talking about how the stock market is it never seems to be able to get above to get to 27,000. It always drops back down into the 24s and then works its way back up and then drop or whatever. And so he was saying it came up anyway, something about the Great Depression. I was really curious, and I was telling him that it could decline, but the GDP is constantly going up for the most part, except for maybe the short period of the Great Depression. and then like the gas not the gas riots, but the gas shortages,
Thanks.
and then like 2008
Saudi
or whatever.
Arabia. Or
And
no,
then,
Iran? I don't know.
No, I think it was Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I looked up was like what the S&P 500 number, like what the number was when the stock market crashed, and like the day, I think it was Black Thursday when I looked it up, like the day that the stock market opened that day, the stock market was at like 113.
Damn.
And so like I was just like showing him like how like it constantly goes up, like the drops and like the depression or whatever thing is like now it's percentage based. It's not like the stock market. I guess in theory it's possible, but like the stock market is not going to drop to zero. So like if it dropped to like 20,000, like that would be a huge depression probably though.
Yeah, one of the podcasts I listen to is the Peter Schiff podcast, and he's talks about the stock market and whatnot. And he's been, I've been listening to it for maybe 3 or 4 months. He's been predicting the like a recession coming in either by the end of this year or the beginning of this year. And like we've already seen 2 big drops, I think, within the last like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but at least temporarily, it seems like it's recovered. Even today, I think it was up like 300 some points.
But yeah, there was he just went through like the numbers and how explaining why everything's dropping. That's the only reason why I really listen to it.
I'm not an economic expert at all by any stretch of it, but it's been honestly curious at best and like worrisome at worst.
Oh, I would be very worried.
How just I don't understand why the Fed they've raised the interest rate like 3 times in the last like not that long period of time. Like I know like if it was going to be some crazy conspiracy theory, it'd be like that the Fed is trying to screw with the economy.
Well, I mean,
but like
kind of protecting it at the moment.
But raising the interest rates is not protecting the economy.
Yes and no. The problem with what he's explaining is that we're getting loaned out money. Like Americans are loaning out too much money at the moment. That's why you see college debt. You see like when someone buys a new car, like a regular person, are they taking out a loan for that? Well, same thing with the house. There's too much money being loaned out and not enough of it, being paid back.
Okay.
Also, a lot of people defaulting. So they're basically losing money. So
the interest rates are people. Not as many people are going to get into the loans because of the interest rates.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Well, then also like what they did prior or after the last recession was basically having 0% interest rate. That was like he said that was the stupidest move ever, even though it was good to. It was like a little jolt, obviously, to the economy to make it move again, but that's another reason why we're not taking kind of the responsibility or accountability here. And also that a lot of the products that we're buying there's a lot more money going out than in as well. This is what he was explaining, just because of China. But also, if the economy here goes bad, then he was explaining why the last recession, why everything else went bad, just because on how a lot of people rely on our just money. But also, it might be the opposite effect to where a lot of people, like the outside economies, might be better off without us. In a way, I don't know. He was explaining, like, he went really in depth on what is.
Interesting.
Like, you have to listen to it, but I can't really explain it. I would have to like listen to it again and like write down notes on what he said. But interesting.
I got just a few more here. October 24th, 1931 was the day that Al Capone went to prison for tax evasion.
Al Capone.
They got him. October 24th, 1938, the Fair Labor Standards Act formally established the 40-hour work week as we know it today.
Oh, wow.
And
Goodbye.
Last but not least, October 24th, 1945, the UN is founded by 29 charter nations after like they agreed to publish their like constitution thing about.
Thinking about boob.
So there you go. That is this week in history.
This week in history, League of Nations sucks. Really does, or did.
I mean, League of Nations is not the United Nations, but sure.
But it was pretty bad. Anyways,
good old Woodrow Wilson.
Oh, I mean, yes and no.
I mean, that was his brainchild.
Mm-hmm. But we never really joined it, so it didn't really matter. Because if an American is not involved, then it's not really anything. Boom, boom. Sorry. Sorry if I insulted you from other places in the world, but I don't really care. Sorry. Dust. Oh, dust. Anyways, let us know in the comments down below of what you liked about history this week, or what the things that we brought up, and tell me if I was wrong about anything, and also let us know in the comments down below if we miss anything, and then we're just gonna laugh at you.
All right.